I saw Game 7. You saw Game 7. LeBron James is one of the top 5 basketball players in the history of the sport. I think we have settled that. But let's talk about all of Game 7. Winners, losers, MVPs, and the future. Let's get into it.
DreAllDay.com.
What's going on, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. It is 11:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Game started an hour earlier tonight, but I'm recording at about the same time because I've been watching the post-game press conference. It's still going on right now. Tristan Thompson is talking right now. LeBron just got off the podium. The Warriors were on the podium. Game 7. We all saw it. We all had our opinions. We had our predictions. We had our picks. It ain't even about that because wasn't none of us playing. We want to talk about what happened on the court, what we think, well, what I think, since I can't hear what none of y'all got to say, but y'all going to let me know in the comments. Man, it was a Game 7 for the ages, first of all. Before I even get into the objective stuff with the stats and the subjective stuff for the players and all that, first of all, it was an excellent Game 7. I applaud, I think all of us should applaud just basketball in general because we got great basketball in the last game. I mean, the first 2 games was blowouts. The third game was a blowout. Game 4 wasn't really a game. Game 5 wasn't really a game. Game 6 was kind of a game. The only real game we had in the whole series came down to Game 7. It came down to the last possession. I mean, the Warriors, Steph Curry shoots a 3. I mean, they was down 4. So they still had somewhat of a chance with the fouls and possibility of a turnover and all that. But it was the only game in the whole series that actually came down to the last couple minutes. And that's all I wanted. I just wanted to see a game come down to the last few minutes with the best players out there going at it. And we got that. We got the MVP of the league in Golden State, the team that just won the championship last year. And we got the best player in the league, LeBron James, or at least in my opinion, before the series. Some people agree with that. A lot of people did not. We're going to get to that in a minute. The best player in the world in LeBron James. We got an all-star in Kyrie, all-star in Kevin Love. You know, you couldn't ask for anything better. Definitely the best team in the East, going against the defending champs, the best team in the West. You couldn't ask for anything better basketball-wise. Come down to a Game 7 on the floor of the team that was the most dominant at home all year. And you got the most indestructible player on the planet on the road, bringing his team in there with a chance to win it all, to lift the quote-unquote curse over his city who hasn't won a championship in 50-some years. You couldn't ask for anything better. So first of all, before we even get into anything, I think we should all be thankful as basketball fans that we got some great basketball between the best players and the best teams out there. I'm really happy that we got a great Game 7 because that's all we wanted was a great Game 7 between the best players out there. Now let's get on to the actual game. Cleveland Cavs and the Golden State Warriors. First, let's talk about the Golden State Warriors side. I mean, at the start of this game, the Warriors came out strong. They came out super strong. Draymond Green was on fucking fire in the first quarter, in the first half. This dude, how many threes he made? I think he made his first 6 3-pointers, and then he missed 2. He ended up going 6 for 8 for 3. But Draymond Green was making everything. He had a dunk early. That was his first bucket was a dunk. Then he started making threes because the Cavs had been giving him that shot all series. At the beginning, they would play him a little bit for it because I know Draymond can make it, but he ain't like going to kill you. He's not a sniper. And then as the series progressed, the Cavs stopped even guarding him. Draymond would be open behind the 3, and they wouldn't even run out there. Like LeBron be guarding him. One of the bigs would be guarding him, and he would have the ball at the 3, looking like he about to shoot it. They wouldn't even run out there. They're like, let his ass shoot. And he made a couple, but he was missing. Draymond was missing a whole lot of threes. So when he started making all these threes in the first quarter of this game, it was like if he's making all these threes, once he starts making those, I'm thinking, damn, if he's making threes, you still got to guard Klay Thompson making threes. You still got to guard Stephen Curry making threes. Iguodala might make some threes. I mean, Iguodala making threes swung the series last year. Harrison Barnes might make a couple threes. You never know with Harrison Barnes. He's kind of like the J.R. Smith of the Warriors. But man, if Draymond's making them, then the Cavs got to do something. They're gonna have to make a little bit of an adjustment here defensively because Draymond was making every damn thing. Here's the problem though for the Golden State Warriors. Those other 2 guys, those other 2 snipers, they never heated up. Klay Thompson and Steph Curry combined went 6 of 24 in 3-pointers in Game 7. Steph was 4 of 14. Klay was 2 out of 10. And neither one of them did anything for their team outside of taking shots. Outside of taking shots, neither one of them contributed at all. I mean, you got 4. Steph Curry had 4 turnovers, 4 fouls. Klay had 3 turnovers, 2 fouls. Neither of them, well, Steph did have 5. He had 5 rebounds. Klay had 2 rebounds. They both had 2 assists. They both had 1 steal. Neither one of them contributed anything besides just taking a bunch of shots and missing. Now, when they're making those, they the Splash Brothers and they winning championships and winning 73 games. But when they're missing, Neither one of those guys contributes a lot they don't contribute much to the team other than that, or at least they didn't tonight. I'm not going to say on every night, but tonight they didn't contribute much. Festus Ezeli started for the Golden State Warriors. I have no idea why he started, but we definitely can see that Andrew Bogut has some value. He has some value. Andrew Bogut was the #1 pick in the NBA draft, and sometimes guys who get drafted that high, casual fans look at it and they're like, oh, this guy got drafted this high, he makes this much money, but he only had this many points or this many rebounds and things like that. What people got to understand is that a player who gets drafted in the, let's say, the top 10 of the NBA draft, if they go on to be a starter, like a solid starter for 10 years, then you actually were successful with that pick. If you look at the history of the draft. Now, a guy drafted in the top 3, let me put this out there, a guy drafted in the top 3, you expect that guy to be an all-star. This is just by the projections of what you want to get for your return on investment. But a player drafted in the top 10, if they go on to have a solid career, they're a solid, dependable starter for 10 plus years in the NBA, then that actually means they were a good pick. Now, if a guy outside of the lottery becomes a starter or all-star or has a long career, then you just hit the jackpot because you're not expecting that. Usually it's the top 10 picks guys that end up being the starters for a long time in the league, or at least that's what you expect when you do the draft. And this is like from draft projections of players like over the last like 20, 30 NBA drafts. I've read about this. And the top 3 guys are the guys you expect your all-stars. Guy you draft #1, hopefully you get a franchise player, but not always. And what people got to remember, and I'm talking about Bogut for a reason, what people got to remember is that the player doesn't tell the teams when to draft him. So if Bogut had been the 8th pick and he ended up being the player he is now, or been the 1st pick, it wasn't his choice who picked him when. I mean, of course he's going to push to be #1. Every player wants to be #1. It's most money and is first. We all competitive, but the reason I'm bringing all that up is because y'all can see the value of a guy like Andrew Bogut. Even though he don't score a ton of points, even though he's never been an all-star, even though he was the #1 pick in the draft, but he wasn't the savior for the Bucks when the Bucks drafted him. He got traded to the Warriors, and he's basically a role player for the Warriors. We can all agree he's a role player. But if you get a role player out of a guy who was a top 10 draft pick, then that was a good pick. And if you paid $60 million or whatever Andrew Bogut's contract is for a guy who's a solid role player, then it's worth it because you can see when he didn't play, you had Barajal try to get in there. McAdoo started the game. McAdoo didn't even play in Game 7, but he started in Game 5 when Draymond didn't play. You had Festus Ezeli, who plays great off the bench all season for Golden State this year and last year. You put him in the starting lineup, he couldn't make a shot. He couldn't buy a bucket. And he was looking like a real bum out there. Honestly, he was looking like a bum because when you take a guy who's used to playing against second unit guys, you put him against the first unit, it's a whole different ball game. It doesn't mean he's going to do the same thing. It's a whole different ball game. And the reason I'm saying all that is to say Bogut missing these games, it shows you the value of a solid role player. Even though he was the #1 pick in the draft, a solid role player has value. On the flip side, on the Cleveland Cavaliers side, before we even finish with the Warriors, Tristan Thompson. A lot of people was talking a lot of shit when he got that deal for what, $82 million or whatever it is he got. A lot of people were saying he don't deserve the money. A lot of people were saying how Tristan Thompson get $80 million. He averages 6 points and 6 rebounds or whatever his stats was. A lot of people were saying that on Twitter. People I know personally were saying that about Tristan Thompson. What people got to understand, first of all, the money in the NBA is based on your market value, based on the salary cap. So how much actual money they get in dollars is not really about, oh, 80 million means he's worth 100 times or 1,000 times more than Bob next door who's a lawyer. It doesn't mean that. It just means that's the market of the NBA, and a guy who can do what he does for the team he's on, that's the value that he brings to the table. So it's not even about his value in the whole NBA, because he might not do that if he was playing for the Warriors, or if he was playing for the Spurs, or if he was playing for the Pelicans. He might not do the same things. But on the Cavs, with that particular team and that particular situation, the dude has value, and you saw it in the NBA Finals. If you had to pay $80 million to a guy who averages 6 points and 7 rebounds, whatever his stats was, but for 3 games straight, Tristan Thompson plays the way he plays. He didn't do much in the Game 7, but in the games that the Cavs won, Games 5 and 6 before Game 7, Tristan Thompson was a fucking beast. He was doing a lot. He was making a whole lot of plays, and he was causing hell for the Warriors, even though it wasn't all on the stat sheet. Would you pay $82 million for that? To win a championship for your team? You would pay $82 million if a guy could help you win 3 games all season and he gets you that title. So the reason I'm bringing up that for Tristan and for Bogut while I'm still talking about the Warriors is that people got to understand the value of a solid role player. It means something. It's not about the actual dollar number amount. The value of a solid role player can swing the difference between winning a championship and losing a championship. And last year, the Cavs was missing two All-Stars in Kyrie and Kevin Love. And Kevin Love's basically like a role player on the Cavs. I mean, you can kind of say that. they were missing a solid role player in Kevin Love. And this year, the Warriors are missing a solid role player in Bogut, even though they got the Splash Brothers, they got the MVP, they got a lot of people think is the best player out there. They got Draymond, who's an all-star. They got Iggy, who won the championship MVP last year. They got all these big-name guys. But the one guy who was missing was none of them. It was a solid role player who a lot of people can say is quote-unquote a bust because he was the #1 pick and didn't average 20 and 10. Him missing was a huge difference for them because if Bogut had been playing, Ezeli could have been playing a whole lot less. You would have never seen Varejao probably wouldn't even hardly played at all. And you damn sure wouldn't have seen no damn James Michael McAdoo playing in the game. And did that make a difference in the Warriors losing all 3 games in a row? I think we can say that. Not to say that the Cavs didn't earn their title. Obviously, they did. I mean, I picked the Cavs to win the series. I picked them in 6. They ended up winning in 7. But anyway, let's talk about the rest of the Golden State Warriors. That was the point that I needed to make to all casual basketball fans to understand what the value is of a role player, even though that guy's not blowing up the stat sheet. Y'all got to understand that every player has a part in a movie. Every instrument in an orchestra matters. It's not just the conductor. It's not just the guy making the big bucks or the guy whose name you know. Every single part matters. If one part's not there doing his job, it breaks down everything else because everybody else got to do something different. And if they're not capable of doing that, making that change on the fly, these are the type of things that happen. So anyway, back to the Golden State Warriors. I just talked about Klay and Steph Curry not doing much. Festus Ezeli should not have played at all. I mean, he played at the beginning. They gave him the ball at the beginning. I think he shot a hook shot like his first. They tried to pound the ball into him the first couple possessions. Why? I don't know. He's not a scorer. And even if he had been making it, even if he had made those couple shots, I think his first hook like rimmed out or it almost went in and then it didn't go in. And then they tried to give him the ball again. Like the first couple possessions, they just threw it in to Ezeli to let him try to go one-on-one on, I think Kevin Love was guarding him. And he missed both of his shots. And then they just start playing like their normal game. I didn't like that strategy. I hate when teams do stuff like that because the Cavs did it last year, and I'm going to tell y'all exactly what happened. But when stuff like that happens, let's say you force the ball into Festus Ezeli. Let's say he makes those shots, right? So then they just keep giving the ball to Festus Ezeli. That's not their offense. Like, listen, the Warriors' strength is when Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green is doing their thing. So even if Festus Ezeli is on fire and he's like, yo, I can score 50, you don't get a ball to Festus Ezeli in a Game 7 over and over again, even if he was making the shot. Let him play the role that he normally plays. You're not going to, don't break your offense to get a ball to this guy just because you think it's some kind of mismatch. No, play the way that you play. Because listen, I'm more concerned if Steph Curry and Klay Thompson make their first 2 than if Festus Ezeli makes his first 2 shots. Don't run the ball into him. And the Cavs did it last year when it was one game when the Warriors started going small. After they put Iggy in the starting lineup, they gave the ball to Mozgov like all game. He had like 30 and 20 one game in the finals last year. And they lost that game. But Mozgov was killing. He had like 30 and 20. But the problem was, if Mozgov is in the game getting 30 and 20, how much is LeBron James getting the ball? I'm like, yo, why are they running the offense through Mozgov? You're not going to win the championship giving the ball to Timofey Mozgov. I don't care who's guarding him. I don't care if you put fucking Earl Boykins on him. You're not winning the championship with Timofey Mozgov getting the ball all game. It was a bad strategy. It's bad thinking. Bad basketball thing, in my opinion. So why the Warriors started the game like that, I don't know. But anyway, they went on to get a ball to the people who deserved it, like Draymond Green. Harrison Barnes was 3 for 10 from the floor. Harrison Barnes, there was Bill Simmons in The Ringer. I know if any of y'all know who Bill Simmons is. He was from ESPN. Now he got his own thing called The Ringer. They put out like an obituary. Harrison Barnes' max contract that they thought he was going to get this summer. Obituary, RIP to his max contract because the way he played the last 3 games of the series. I think they said he was 0 for his last 14 and like 2 for his last 24. And then this game he went 3 for 10. Harrison Barnes had 3 really bad games in the NBA Finals. He looked really bad. He made a couple shots early. He made a couple threes, made his free throws, but he didn't do nothing else. He had 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 4 fouls. He was like the invisible man out there. He was one of those players like, it's not super obvious that he's terrible and missing. It was one game he was missing a lot of shots, more than he missed in this game, and it was obvious he was missing. But this game, it wasn't that obvious that he was 3 for 10. It was just like he's on the court, but he ain't doing nothing. He ain't made no plays on defense, no plays on offense, no assists, no nothing. It's just like he's just on the court. It's like a foot soldier. He was just there. So he didn't do much. Anderson Varejao came in and he tried to do his flopping thing. Now, that's a great thing if you cheering for the team that Varejao plays for, but it's annoying if you just want to see good basketball, because that's all he does. He goes in there, he tries to draw a foul on you, he tries to flop on offense, he flops on defense, and in the regular season it works a lot, and it worked even in the finals a couple times. It worked once in this game, But for the most part in Game 7, when he tried to flop, it didn't work. And you could see every time a call went against him, he was yelling at the ref and getting mad because really this is the only thing he can do right now. He used to be an actual really good, useful player. He could get you 10 rebounds and 10, 12 points a game, but I don't think he can do that anymore, number one. Number two, he doesn't play enough to do it even if he could. And number three, he tried it tonight and it didn't work. So his 8 minutes were completely useless for the Warriors. But then the Warriors finally went to their real lineup, the death lineup, which is when you get all the bigs out of there. They're bum-ass big men like Ezeli, like Varejao. And Bogut is good when he's playing, but he didn't play. Iguodala. Put Iguodala in the game. He played 38 minutes. He didn't seem to be too bothered by his back, but he also didn't seem to be his normal self because he didn't really guard LeBron that much. I think Draymond played damn near the whole game. Draymond played 47 minutes. So he was guarding LeBron for the most part. But Iggy was 2 for 6 from the floor, missed both his free throws, missed all his threes. He did grab 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Iggy had a damn good game. Iguodala has found his niche playing on a team like this as a 6-man. On a lot of teams in the league, he should be starting. But on the Warriors, he found his niche. And he did the best he could. I don't know if he was injured at all. Maybe he just felt he didn't need to be shooting because he got 3 other guys who should be shooting more than him. But Draymond Green, let's talk about Draymond Green. He showed the hell up. Draymond Green did show up in Game 7. 11 for 15 from the floor, 6 for 8 from deep, made all 4 of his free throws, 15 rebounds, 9 assists. Damn, they had a triple-double, 2 steals, only 2 turnovers. The dude showed up, and especially in the first half. He was making every damn thing. He's the reason it was a game because if you look at the stats, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson they were just missing. They were shooting a lot, but they were missing. Draymond Green kept the Warriors in the game for the first 3 quarters. He is the reason that this was a game. Draymond Green's offensive play is the reason that this was a game. Him making those shots because it broke down the Cavs D because the Cavs D the whole series was close on Klay, close on Steph, let Draymond shoot. But now the guy that you letting shoot is making shots. Now that changes everything. It changed everything for the Cavs. And that's why the Warriors were giving them a game that's why they gave him a game, period. And the Cavs weren't making everything either. So we're going to get to the Cavs in a second. So now let's go to the winner's side, Cleveland Cavaliers. First of all, let's talk about the bench. Richard Jefferson, he grabbed 9 rebounds off the bench. He only played 26 minutes, but he grabbed 9 rebounds. The dude played actively. He gave energy, emotional energy, and physical energy for the Cavs all postseason, especially in the finals when they needed it, going up against a team that plays off an emotional high of their home crowd and just the success they had, and a guy like Draymond and the Warriors. Richard Jefferson's his contribution was very important, even though, again, on the stat sheet, he didn't do much. 2 points. He was 1 for 4 from the floor. He had 1 steal, no assists, no blocks, no turnovers. He had 9 rebounds. That's going to stand out. But other than that, he had no other real stats, but his presence and the fact that those 9 rebounds he got, those mattered because a team like the Warriors, you never want to get them a second shot because they shoot so many threes. You don't want to get those guys a second shot. Richard Jefferson really earned his money. He probably didn't even get paid that much money to be on the team this year for the bit he was on it. But he earned his money because that type of emotional lift, that type of veteran leadership matters a lot. Mo Williams only 5 minutes. Shumpert played 19 minutes. He didn't get in the way. It felt to me like Shumpert was getting in the way a lot offensively for the Cavs this series. He only made 1 shot, but it was that M1-3. It was that M1-3 which was important because he will shoot it. He's not bashful about shooting, but he be missing. He be doing some wild-ass moves on offense. He's not a great passer. He sometimes gets a little bit overzealous on defense. I thought Shumpert was I said this in the last video, I thought he was better than he's actually looked in the finals. And maybe he actually is. Maybe he just wasn't doing his thing in the finals. Who knows? But he didn't really look good in the finals. But he didn't get in the way for the Cavs tonight, which is super important. He was a -9 overall. And Richard Jefferson was a -8. And Mo Williams was a -5. They were all the guys that got off the bench. They were all plus. Their plus minuses was all minuses. So the Cavs, all the guys who were pluses were their 5 starters. Nobody else got in the game. It was just those 3 guys. Dellavedova didn't play. Mozgov didn't play. Channing Frye didn't play. Nobody else got in the game except those 3 guys. They were all minuses. So let's get to the starting lineup. First of all, J.R. Smith. J.R. Smith actually had a solid game. I wouldn't say he played great, but he didn't play terrible. He did not hurt the Cavs. He didn't do anything to mess the Cavs up. He didn't do that much to help. He did make a couple threes. He did score like that 8 points in a row. That stretch was big. That he did do. So I got to give him credit for that. He did do that. Overall, he was 5 of 13 from the floor, 2 of 8 from 3. He had 2 turnovers and 3 fouls, but he had 2 assists, a steal, and he grabbed 4 rebounds. He was solid. He was a solid, don't mess it up. No, stay out the way until we give you the ball and you're supposed to make something happen. And he did that. J.R. Smith did his job as well as you can expect J.R. Smith to do his job in a Game 7. He definitely did that. give credit to J.R. Smith for what he did in Game 7. Now, Tristan Thompson, 32 minutes. I already talked about a little bit about Tristan when I was talking about Bogut. Tristan Thompson only had 3 rebounds this game. He did block 2 shots. He had 4 fouls, but he made 3 or 4 free throws. And Tristan's not a good free throw shooter particularly, but he made 3 out of 4 free throws, which was huge for him. 32 minutes, 3 of 3 from the floor, 9 points, 3 rebounds. He didn't do much. I mean, if you look at those stats, would you pay a guy like that $82 million just on paper? Absolutely not. But again, as I talked about earlier, you got to understand the value of what that guy does in that space, in that role against certain teams, and what is it worth to you. To win a championship, would you pay him $82 million? Now is a different question. Of course you would pay him. Kevin Love. Kevin Love was that wasn't Kevin Love. Kevin Love was 3 out of 9 from the floor, so he didn't really shoot that much. He missed all 3 of his threes. He was 3 or 4 from the foul line, but what Kevin Love did is he played with some goddamn energy finally. He played with some damn energy, and he did the thing that he could do based on the fact that he wasn't getting the ball much. He knew he wasn't going to get the ball much, and he shouldn't have been getting the ball much. But the fact that he wasn't getting the ball much didn't stop him from doing the thing that he could do, which is grab some damn rebounds. And he finally went out and grabbed some fucking rebounds. He had 4 offensive rebounds. I think almost all 4 of them might have been in the first quarter. He was killing them in the glass in the first quarter. He was going at the Warriors on the glass. Him and Draymond was battling, and he was winning. He's taller than Draymond. He don't have longer arms than Draymond, but he's taller than him, and he can body down there just as well as anybody. I mean, you don't average 15 rebounds for an entire NBA season, which he did when he was in Minnesota, without being able to battle with anybody down there in the paint. So he finally actually showed up and fucking did what he can do, which is grab some goddamn rebounds. 4 offensive rebounds, 10 defensive, 14 rebounds, led the team in rebounding, even had 3 assists and 2 steals. Kevin Love played with some damn energy, and Kevin Love had the highest plus minus of anybody on the floor. What is that? It's something flying around in here. Keep drawing my attention. But anyway, he had the highest plus minus of anybody on the Cavs tonight with a plus 19. Is because he showed with some energy. Kevin Love finally showed up and played with some energy. I thought he was going to score a lot of points. He didn't do that, but he grabbed a lot of rebounds. And he could do that every night for the Cavs because rebounding is not like shooting. It's not even like defense where you don't know who you guarding. You might have to face somebody you can't really stick, or shooting where you just might miss shots. It can happen to anybody. But rebounding, I mean, you can't have an off game rebounding. Either you grab some rebounds or you don't. Kyrie Irving. I don't know who we should talk about first, Kyrie Irving or LeBron James. Let me think about it. Let's talk about Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, first of all, he was 10 of 23 from the floor. We just looking subjectively. 26 points. You know, he was 2 of 5 on his threes, 4 of 4 from the line, 6 rebounds. It was more than he usually gets. Only 1 assist, only 1 steal, only 1 block, only 2 turnovers. Kept his turnovers to a minimum. But if y'all follow me on Twitter, @DreAllDay, I tweeted during the game when it was coming down the stretch in the fourth quarter that LeBron was holding the ball too damn much. He was slowing the offense down. He would hold the ball till it was like 8 seconds on the clock. They would run a pick and roll for nothing because LeBron wouldn't do nothing with it. It'd be like 8, 7, 6 seconds on the clock. LeBron is just holding the ball, dribbling around, doing nothing. I'm like, yo, what are you doing, dude? Are you going to shoot? Are you going to drive? Are you going to do something? Then he would drive and do some. He would shoot some. He was missing shots, but then he would try to make these wild passes in the air, and they would go to people who wasn't ready to shoot, and then end up turnovers and missed shots. I'm like, they got to start running the offense through LeBron. He's hurting them the way they run the offense through this guy. They need to start giving the ball to Kyrie. Let him break down the guy he's guarding because Kyrie can do that all damn day, which he wasn't doing the first 2 games of the series. I have no idea why, but he started doing it like he knows how to do it the rest of the series. They need to let Kyrie break his guy down and create either for himself, which is what Kyrie does best, or maybe he'll throw a good pass. But shit, if he just got to score, just let him score. Let him create and break down the defense. That's what they needed to be doing. They needed to run a pick and roll with Kyrie handling, LeBron screening, but then not passing to LeBron because they would run the pick and roll, LeBron screening for Kyrie, and then Kyrie would just pass the ball to LeBron, and LeBron would just hold it till it was 7 seconds left on the clock and then try to do something and mess up. I'm like, yo, what the hell are they doing? But late in the game, those last few possessions, I tweeted it. This was in all capital letters. I said, give Kyrie Irving the ball right now. I tweeted this when they was in a timeout. And they started running a play where they ran horns, where Kyrie was holding the ball. He was handling the ball. Or Kyrie was up top isolated doing it with a screen and roll, man, one-on-one screen and roll. And LeBron was buried off in the corner next to the Warriors bench. I said, this is the offense they need to run. Keep LeBron out the hell out the way because he ain't doing nothing. They ran that. They got Kyrie one-on-one. He made some good plays. Then he got that one-on-one isolation. It was tied at 89. I think it was 89. Yeah, I think it's tied at 89. He got the screen and roll. He got Steph Curry on him, or he just went one-on-one. I don't remember how he got Steph Curry on him, and he pulled up off the right hand, pulled up 3, boom. When he hit that 3, I said, they about to fucking win. They about to win. All they got to do is get one stop and a rebound. I tweeted this too. One stop and a rebound, and it's done. One stop and a rebound, and it's done. And that pull-up three off the right hand, all you young ball players coming up, if you are right-handed, you better be able to pull up for a three-pointer off your right-hand dribble, not just off your left-hand dribble. Like LeBron James, most of his threes be off his left-hand dribble. But if you're a guard, especially a guard in that 6'1", 6'2", and under height range, you better be able to pull up for three off either hand off the bounce. So if you only pull up off your left off the bounce, you better be able to start pulling up off your right, because you might be in a situation like Kyrie Irving where that defender's leaning on your left hand. If you can't pull up off your right, then hey, you might miss your chance to win the NBA championship. And Kyrie Irving, I mean, I ain't got to say nothing else about Kyrie Irving. You saw what the hell that man did. He's doing a press conference right now. I'm doing this instead of watching the press conference, but I'll watch it later. Now, LeBron James. I told y'all last video somebody had pointed out, or he kind of complained actually, that every video I would start off by talking about LeBron James. Well, now I'm talking about LeBron James last. LeBron James, as I told y'all last year before the finals began, before the Cavs lost in the finals, I said LeBron James is the best player in the world. Last year, after they lost in the finals, when he averaged 35, 13, and 9 in the finals in 6 games that they lost, so he should have been MVP, even though they lost. I told y'all LeBron James is the best basketball player in the world. This year, when Steph Curry won MVP again, I said LeBron James is the best basketball player in the world. This year, when the Cavs was down 3-1, and I thought they was going to lose Game 5 in Golden State before the Draymond suspension got announced, which changed everything. We're going to talk about that in a minute. I told y'all, win or lose, LeBron James is the best player in the world. Now, he beat the MVP on his home floor in a Game 7 after they was both talking shit, after Draymond was talking shit, after Maurice Spates tweeted a baby bottle emoji and then got his ass dunked on in the next game and ain't do shit the rest of the series after he tweeted that. Nobody's really going to talk about that because Maurice Spates is not, he ain't an all-star, so nobody's really going to, people will mention it to him. I'm sure people on Twitter will mention it to Maurice Spates. Then Steph Curry's wife tweeted something about the high road. She tweeted some backhanded, subliminal shit about the high road when she ain't even got to be out there playing to face the guy she talking shit about, or alluding to, rather. After all that, LeBron James went out there and showed y'all he is the best player in the world. He was already the best player. If the Warriors had won tonight, LeBron James still be the best player in the world. I'm going to tell you who the last best player in the world was before LeBron James. It was Kobe Bryant. Then the torch got passed to LeBron, and ain't nobody else had it for not one moment since. Steph Curry has never, ever been the best player in the world. Now, I'm not saying this just because the Cavs won the championship. Let me be clear before any of y'all get all overzealous in the comments. I said this before the series. I said it last year when they lost, that LeBron was the best player in the world. And y'all can go check the videos. I said it is recorded. LeBron James is, I'm going to go a step further. I said this on Twitter. He is top 5 dead or alive. He's one of the top 5 basketball players of all time, based on his entire body of work and, of course, with what he did this year. First team ever to come back from down 3-1 to win the NBA championship, ever. They won twice on the home court of a team that lost how many games at home all year? I think at home the Warriors lost, I think, twice all year, once or twice all year at home. Somebody can let me know the stat. Warriors lost more games at home during the playoffs than they did all regular season, but I mean, that kind of makes sense. I think they lost more games. They might have lost more games total. I think they lost as many games total in the playoffs as they did all year, period. And of course, in the playoffs, you're playing against the best of the best. So that kind of makes sense. But LeBron James is the point. He's top 5 of all time. Absolutely the best player playing right now. It ain't even a fucking conversation. There ain't nobody you can even compare him to. Closest guy you could say is Steph Curry. But Steph Curry does not affect a game on both ends of the floor the way LeBron James does. Nor does he, or any other player. This is not a critique of Steph Curry. This is any player in the NBA. No player in the NBA affects the game on both ends of the floor the way LeBron James does, and no player in the league could have done what LeBron James has done over the last six years. Be the best player on the team for 4 years in a row, take them to the championship round all 4 years, then switch teams, go to a new team, and take that team to the championship 2 times in a row, and win the championship against the team that just beat him the year before on the road in Game 7 against the 2-time MVP. It ain't no basketball player alive who could have did that. I don't even think Kobe in his prime could have switched teams and took the next team to the finals the next year. I don't even think Kobe could have did that. But this is not a conversation of who's better between Kobe and LeBron. It's too early. Kobe just retired and LeBron is still playing. So it's hard to even, we're not even getting into that. I'm not getting into that. Y'all can get into it. I'm not getting into that. But as far as players that's playing right now, for a while, I mean, Kobe was the man. Then LeBron kind of started to grab the torch, but he had to win a ring to get the torch because Kobe won 2009, 2010. Then LeBron went in 2011, but he lost. Then he won in 2012. That's when he became the guy. To me, he had to win the championship to really call himself the guy. He might have been the guy before that. Even though he wasn't winning the title, he could have been the best player. But he's taken it ever since then. Since he won that title, he's taken the crown as the best player alive. And it ain't been nobody else. They tried to put, who was it? It was 2012, 13. They tried to say maybe Kobe for a minute, then Kobe kind of went away. Then they tried to say Kevin Durant. Remember, Kevin Durant won the MVP, and then LeBron kicked his ass in the finals. And then they gave it to Steph Curry, and Steph Curry won the championship, so everybody had to kind of pipe down. And now this year, LeBron came and took it from him. I mean, I don't know what else we could say about the guy. The guy averaged in the finals. His average was 29, 11, and 9. Average. Not one game. Average. 29 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists in the finals. Last year was 36 or 35, whatever it was, 13 and 9. I mean, you have any player do that for an entire playoff series, he'll never have to pay for a meal again in his hometown again if he does that. Any basketball player in the world does that in the NBA final series. For one series, they never had to pay for a meal again in their life, right? They could frame that and just be 65 years old living off that one series. He did it 2 years in a fucking row. 2 years in a row and won Game 7 on the road, man. I mean, I'm saying a lot about LeBron James, but I mean, the dude is the best. He is the best. I don't know if there's anybody out there watching this who can try to argue that there's any player playing right now better than LeBron James. It's impossible. You can't, because he just won the championship. The object of the game is to win the game. He won the game, and he got the stats. It ain't nothing you can say. And he won it on the road in that dude's house. So it ain't really nothing you can say. There's no other player you can put up there because everybody else lost. There's nobody else that you can put up there. LeBron James, this ESPN stats put this out. He led the entire series. I'm talking about all the Cavs players and all the Warriors players together. LeBron James was number 1 in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals. He had the most of all these stats amongst both teams' players combined for all 7 games of the finals. Points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals. All 5 stats. Are you kidding me? Can you name one player who could do that? Name a player who's playing in the NBA right now who you could just say, like, hypothetically, I could see them doing that in the series. Name one player. Name one. Name one player. Let me think. Points, rebounds, assists, blocks. The only player I could think that could possibly do that. Points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals. The only player I could possibly see doing it is Russell Westbrook. And the only thing he'd have a challenge with is the blocks. Because Russ Westbrook don't block shots like LeBron James. The only player I could see possibly getting there is Russell Westbrook. And that's because I know Russ can get the points. I know he can get the rebounds and the assists. He has the ball enough. He can pass well enough. And definitely can get the steals. But the blocks, I think he'd be short. KD, no, because I don't think KD can get the assists. I don't think KD can get the assists to do it. I don't think he can get the blocks either. I do think he can get the blocks. I don't think he can get the steals. But he definitely wouldn't get the assists. Steph Curry's not getting the blocks. No guard. There ain't no guard in the league I can think of other than Russ who could get the blocks. Is there any player you can think? If there's anybody y'all know of, let me know. Points, rebounds, assists, Kawhi Leonard maybe, but he ain't getting the assists. He don't handle the ball enough. I don't see any player in the league who you could even fathom, not even in a video game, could do what LeBron James did for real. What LeBron James did in real life, I can't even fathom not one player in the league doing in fantasy except Russ Westbrook. He's the only guy I could think of. This is a long ass video, but this is Game 7. I mean, y'all hanging with me, right? What else we gotta say about this series, man? What else? I gotta make sure I get everything out. Kyrie Irving outplayed Stephen Curry in the NBA Finals. I gotta own that one because I said before the series that what the Cavs needed from Kyrie for this to be a good series was him to at least go bat for bat, go shot for shot with Steph. I say at least go shot for shot with Steph. Kyrie's not going to stop Steph Curry because Kyrie's not a great defensive player. He's still not a great defensive player. He still has some defensive lapses in the finals, but Steph Curry was missing. Whether that was because of defense, because it was a Curry, whatever, he was missing. Bottom line is the shots wasn't going in. Kyrie's shots were going in. Kyrie Irving outplayed Stephen Curry in the NBA Finals. He absolutely did. And he won, so you could still say he outplayed him even if the stats was equal or different. He outplayed Steph Curry in the NBA Finals. Is no questioning that. Klay Thompson had that, I think, one game where he was killing on threes, but otherwise he was pretty quiet. Otherwise, I think he was pretty quiet. As far as the Cavs go, I mean, Kevin Love stepped up when he needed to step up. Tristan stepped up when he needed to. They got little contributions from everybody along the way, but it was really LeBron James and Kyrie Irving carried them through the last 5 games of the series. The first 2 games, nobody showed up. I ain't giving nobody on the Cavs credit for the first 2 games of the series, but the last 5, they won 4 out of the last 5 games of that series. So the Warriors ended the season on a 1-4 run. Their last 5 games of the season, they were 1 win and 4 losses, which is crazy because they played 82 games and only lost 9 times. Best record in the history of the league. The 1996 Bulls, popping champagne right now. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Phil Jackson, Randy Brown, Tony Kukoc, they popping champagne right now because they still stand as the greatest one-season team in NBA history by statistics, by winning percentage, because they won, and they won the championship. I think the Warriors might have even beat them in winning percentage. I'm not sure if they beat them in winning percentage overall, adding up playoffs and regular season, but they didn't win the title. So it's just like the Patriots. When the Patriots was 18-0, but then they lost in the Super Bowl to the Giants that year, it's the same thing with the Warriors. They can't claim best team. They can't claim best team in history, nothing, because they didn't win the championship. They didn't close it off the way they needed to. Everybody agrees with that. If the shoe had been on the other foot with any other team, everybody would agree. Y'all ain't win the title, it don't count. So the Warriors are not the greatest team in history, and not even in the conversation because they didn't win the ring. Without the ring, don't nothing matter. The Cavs got it over them this year. What else? One other thing I want to put out. This is not a statistical thing. This is just my opinion, but I want to know what y'all think about this. It was 3 things. I was telling my lady about this. There's 3 things that the Warriors, and actually 2 out of the 3 was people around the Warriors who don't even fucking play in the games, did that I think put the law of karma against Golden State. There's some things that put the law of karma against Golden State. And it was 3 things specifically. I don't know if y'all read a lot of articles, but in the New York Times in March, in the spring, there was an article. I mean, it's technically still spring right now. There was an article that they were interviewing Joe Lacob, who's one of the owners of the Golden State Warriors. I think he's like the head owner of the Golden State Warriors. And I'm going to see if I can find this because Darren Rovell tweeted it and I retweeted it. Yeah, it's right here. So they interviewed this guy from the Warriors because the Warriors obviously was on their way to breaking the record and it looked like they were going to break it, and they ended up breaking it for regular season wins. They interviewed Lacob and he was being real cocky in the interview, real arrogant in the interview. I'm going to read to y'all what he said in this interview. You didn't read it. You need to go find this article and read it because a lot of people pointed this out when it came out. They were like, yo, this dude is putting karma against the Warriors by talking too much shit. But this is what he said. He said when he was asked about the previous night's game for the Warriors, Lacob could hardly contain himself. He boasted that the Warriors are playing in a far more sophisticated fashion than the rest of the NBA. We've crushed them on the basketball court, and we're going to for years because of the way we've built this team, he said. This is the owner of the Warriors talking shit in the newspaper. But what really set the franchise apart, he said, was the way it operated as a business. This is a quote. We are light years ahead of probably every other team in terms of structure and planning and how we're going to go about things. We're going to be a handful for the rest of the NBA to deal with for a long time. Mind you, he said this in March, in the middle of the season. How you going to come out as an owner and say we're crushing everybody and we're going to keep crushing them? Like, dude, y'all won 1 championship. Every year somebody wins a championship. You're getting a little bit too arrogant, dude. And what the thing is, and before I even get to my thing, a lot of the owners in the NBA, the word is, I don't know none of the owners in the NBA, but a lot of the owners, the word is, were really upset with Lacob saying what he said because he was really like talking shit about the other teams. Like, yo, we light years ahead of everybody. Like, dude, you won 1 ring. There's a whole bunch of owners out here who have more rings than you. The Heat got more rings than you. The Lakers got more rings than you. The Spurs got more rings than you. Like, y'all won 1 championship, dude. Calm down. Houston got more rings. Chicago got more rings. And those owners still there. So you talking shit like y'all just killing everybody. Like, dude, y'all won 1 championship. Y'all doing good this year, but don't get ahead of yourself, dude. And this is the part to me that really bothered me. And I'm gonna, actually, before I even get into that, I'm going to tell you part 2. And I'm going to tell you part 3, and I'm going to come back to that. So first of all, is the Warriors owner talking a whole lot of shit during the season about how great his team is and how they're crushing everybody else. He was just saying how great our team is. It would have been cool. It would have been kind of cool. And the fact that he was, I'm going to come back to him. All right, just him talking shit was number 1. That was the first thing to put karma against the Golden State Warriors. Here's the second thing to put karma against the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry's wife tweeting. First of all, she tweeted 2 things. After Game 5, when Word got out that Draymond had said LeBron a bitch. Somehow, some way, LeBron told the reporter why. I don't know why LeBron told the reporter what Draymond said. I don't have no idea why LeBron even said that, because obviously it was going to get out to the media. Draymond said LeBron a bitch, and LeBron kind of started going back and forth with him. And a lot of people were saying LeBron's a baby because Draymond said he's a bitch and he got mad. Well, LeBron didn't complain about, I'm going to clear this up. I meant to talk about this at the game 5 or 6, but all LeBron did was tell the reporter what Draymond said. And when Draymond said it, y'all saw the game, LeBron started getting in his face and they was going at each other like, yo, LeBron was saying something, Draymond was saying something. LeBron was doing more of the talking than Draymond. Draymond kind of got quiet. LeBron said after the point, like, yo, he said something to me that I just don't tolerate being said to me. A lot of people were saying he's being a baby. Like, he didn't do anything. He didn't whine. He didn't complain to the refs. He didn't do anything. All he did, he spoke to him. He got in his face and said, yo, you're not going to talk to me like that. That's what he did. I don't see where people got the baby part from. All he did was he faced up to the dude. Now, of course, they're in the middle of the NBA Finals game. They can't fight. I don't know if he was going to try to fight, but they can't fight. You can't be violent. You know, all you can do is this. And that's what he did. He got in his face and said, yo, you're not going to talk to me like that. We didn't know what he had said at the time. We didn't know what Draymond had said to spark that at the time. But that's all LeBron did. So why, I don't know how all the fans got somehow that LeBron was being a baby about that. I never got that part, because that's all that happened. What I just explained to you is what happened. Somebody said something that he didn't like. He took it as disrespectful. He's addressed the guy who he felt like was being disrespectful, and he couldn't do anything else. He couldn't fight. You know, he couldn't send somebody after him. He can't do nothing. You'll get yourself suspended. And of course, he can't get suspended. So that's all he could do. So I don't get where the baby part came from. So here's the next thing that happened. It was actually 4 things. Actually, I'm gonna actually say 5 things. And the other 2 things are this. So Klay Thompson gets asked about it once the word gets out what happened. Klay Thompson gets asked about it in the press conference after Game 4, and Klay Thompson says, well, you know, people say things to me all the time. I've had way worse things said to me. I guess LeBron got his feelings hurt. And it was a little bit of snark in that, just a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit of snark in that by Klay Thompson. And the Warriors were up 3-1 at this point, coming home to play in Game 5. This is before Draymond got suspended. This is when this got said. So obviously the Warriors was feeling themselves a little bit, which is fine. And Klay Thompson saying something is fine, because Klay Thompson putting on the uniform, he got to go out there and battle. So him talking, I don't mind the players talking shit, because the players got to get on the court and play. It was the owner talking shit. Now we're going to come back to the owner. This is the other thing that happened. Maurice Spates, who's a bench player for the Warriors, who has a good game once every 5 or 6 games, came and he tweeted the emoji of the baby bottle. He didn't say anything, but he tweeted the emoji of the baby bottle. And that combined with Draymond Green saying, you a bitch to LeBron, I guess that's his way of saying something. I think I mentioned this in the last video. When somebody says you a bitch, it's kind of like, in the environment that I come from, that a lot of us come from, when somebody say you a bitch, it's kind of like a last resort thing that you say when you can't really think of nothing else to say. You ain't really got no other way to win the situation, so you just say that, so you can kind of save face. That plus what Maurice Spates did. First of all, let me talk about Draymond Green. I thought Draymond was a more creative trash talker than that. Like, that's all you got, man. Like, you a bitch. That's all he said. I thought Draymond was more creative than that, especially when you're talking to LeBron James. I mean, he got a 13-year career. You got a lot of stuff to choose from. You just beat him in the finals last year, and that's all you could come up with. I thought Draymond was a more creative trash talker than that, so I was disappointed when I found out that's what he said. Secondly, Maurice Spates with the baby bottle thing. I know the generation that we're in these days, in 2016, this is the acceptable, normal thing to kind of, you allude to the other person, you kind of allude to what is happening, you allude to them, but you don't really say their name, and you're not really explicit in your thing, and then people pick up on it, and then it's a story and all that. Like, to me, I'm gonna just tell y'all, me personally, I'm 34 years old. I grew up in the 90s. I was a teenager in the 90s, so maybe this is a OG or old head thing, but to me, that's kind of bitch assness to me. That's like the bitch made way of doing things. I still see it that way, even though I'm living in 2016. I understand there's a new generation of youth out there, and Spates is probably in his 20s somewhere. To me, that's just a bitch ass way of doing things. Like, if you really want to talk about somebody like Spates, like, you play, dude. Like, you gotta get on the court and play against LeBron. You gotta guard LeBron. So if you got something to say, just say his name. Put his name in the tweet, or say his name out loud, or just say what you gotta say. Like, don't be a bitch about it and do a little emoji. I know this generation, that's the accepted, cool way of doing things. I know in rap music it's kind of the same way. I know that's accepted nowadays. That's the normal thing these days. But to me, I just see that as a bitch-ass way of doing things. You got something to say about another person, especially 2 men, especially if there's a man talking to another man, and you got to see that man on the court the next day. Just say what you got to say. Don't allude to it. Don't emoji it. Don't tweet. Don't even tweet it. Like, just say what you got to say and do it, handle it on the court on top of saying what you got to say. And the next game after that, LeBron dunked on Spates, and Spates, that was the only highlight Spates had the rest of the series, was getting dunked on after he did the baby bottle emoji. That was the biggest thing he did all series, was tweet the baby bottle emoji. What else did he do? Can somebody tell me something else Spates did in the series? And it's not even an attack on Spates, it's just the bitch ass way of handling, I guess, a conflict, if you want to call it that. And then here's the fourth thing. So that was 1, 2. The owner was number 1. Klay Thompson was number 2. Maurice Spates was number 3. Number 4 thing was this. Steph Curry's wife, after game 4, same situation. So they went to LeBron after Klay Thompson made his statement, like, I guess he got his feelings hurt. And LeBron heard it. The reporters told LeBron what he said while he's at the press conference at the podium. LeBron was like, man, you know what? I'm going to just take the high road. I've been taking the high road for 13 years of my career. I'm going to take the high road. I'm going to just do it again. And before I even get into what Steph Curry's wife said, or what she tweeted, rather, because that's the thing nowadays, is that LeBron has taken the high road. We all got to commend him. He's taken the high road his whole career. He's had more people talk shit about him. He'd had more media talk shit. I mean, there's dudes who built their whole career. Skip Bayless built his whole career on talking shit about LeBron James. All right. He built his whole career on, that's a nice lightning right there, right? He built his whole career on hyping up Tim Tebow, who don't even play no more, and talking shit about LeBron James. If it wasn't for those two things, Skip Bayless, we wouldn't even know who Skip Bayless is. Can we all agree with that? He built his whole career on it. He's a millionaire now because of LeBron James. He made a whole career talking shit about LeBron James. And a whole bunch of other people did too. And LeBron James has always taken the high road, always. When Dan Gilbert made the letter in Comic Sans and put it on the Cavs website after LeBron did the decision, LeBron didn't respond. When he ended up winning the title in 2012, he could have talked all the shit in the world to Dan Gilbert. He didn't respond. He won the title again. He could have talked more shit. He didn't respond. When Lance Stevenson was doing all the crazy shit, remember him for the Pacers? Remember Lance Stevenson? He's still alive. What happened? LeBron took the high road. Again, he took the high road over and over again. He's taking the high road. And so when he said that, I was like, you know what? He actually does. Because me, personally, I'm not a person, I wouldn't have taken the high road that many times with that many people talking shit to me. I think most of you would have to agree to that. He's taken the high road his whole career when people had taken shots at him. And he gets more shots taken at him than anybody. Even now that he's won the title, he's still going to have people talking shit about him next year, even though he just won the damn title against the quote-unquote unbeatable team that a lot of y'all was calling unbeatable too. Let's not forget about that. Now here's the next thing. Ayesha Curry, Steph Curry's wife, tweets right after LeBron said, I'm taking the high road. She tweeted the high road. And I'm paraphrasing exactly what she said. She tweeted this, the high road, the road that you take when there's space to your left and space to your right, but you decide to step right over top of another player. Basically talking about how LeBron stepped over Draymond before Draymond punched him in his dick and got the flagrant foul that got him suspended for game 5. Like, here's my problem with that. Here's my problem with that whole situation. I already talked about the Twitter thing. My problem with the fact that she started talking and the owner of the Warriors talking, these are two things that I don't like. Even if I was playing for the Warriors, I wouldn't like either of them talking because they ain't got to get on the court and play. Like, you the owner, Joe Lacob, I understand you the owner. You the one who signs the checks. But, dude, you talking about we're crushing the rest of the league, we're going to keep crushing them. Like, you motivating the other teams we got to play against, and you ain't got to go out there and play. You ain't got to go out there and fight no battles. You sitting up in the skybox watching us fight the battles, but you talking all the shit. And it's the same thing with Curry's wife. Like, yo, like, I understand you got an opinion. You feel the way you feel. You know, your husband is the MVP of the league, but, yo, you ain't got to play. You ain't got to play, baby girl. You ain't got to go out there and perform against the dudes that you talking shit about. You talk shit about dude, he get mad, now I got to fight dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't got to play. You ain't got to play. I got to play against that dude. But you talking. That's the problem that I got. Anytime somebody who's like, and this is even in other levels of sports, when somebody's like, y'all ever playing a game and somebody who's friends with the guy you playing against is talking shit from the sideline, like, yo, dude, you ain't playing. Like, your man playing. So if you talk shit to me and I get mad and start busting your man ass, what you gonna do? Nothing. You're still gonna be sitting on the sideline like you was when you was talking all the shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a fan of people talking shit when they ain't gotta go out and fight the battles against the people they talking about. That's the bottom line. Curry's wife ain't playing against nobody, but she was doing a lot of this. And even after game 6, she's talking about the game is rigged for ratings or money, and then she deleted the tweet, which is the new way of backpedaling on your shit talk by deleting your tweets. At least she didn't say it got hacked. You know, we passed the Twitter got hacked now we just delete tweets. But anyway, I'm just not a fan of people talking shit when they ain't got to fight the battles against the people they talking about. That's the bottom line. And here's point number 5. This is the 5th thing. And these are all the things that put the law of karma against the Warriors. And again, this is just my opinion. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Draymond Green, after Game 5, after they lost Game 5, they were on the road about to go back to Cleveland for Game 6. So he didn't play Game 5, and he's talking to the reporters, and he said, I definitely let my team down by getting myself suspended for Game 5. I think we had a chance to win the series. If I would have played Game 5, I think we would have won. Cool. I had no problem with none of that. He should say that, and he should be confident. And I think they would have won Game 5 if he would have played, but he didn't play. But I think what did happen at the Game 5, there was a couple things that happened at the Game 5 that started tilting karma away from them. Was number 1, Draymond doing a dick punch. Number 2, Klay Thompson's little snark. And number 3, Curry's wife talking when she got to go out there and play. Those 3 things kind of tilted karma away from the Warriors, tilted it against them. So I think maybe they would have lost Game 5 anyway, even if Draymond had played. But this is what Draymond did that was kind of not good for him. He said, now we in Game 6, and he was like, last year we beat the Cavs in Cleveland to win the championship. And he was like, it'd be great if we could win the championship on another team's home floor 2 years in a row. When he said that before Game 6. He was like, it'd be great if we can win the championship on another team's home floor 2 years in a row. I don't know if that's ever been done before. He said that to the media. I saw this on wherever I was watching, TV, ESPN, Twitter, something. He said that. I heard him say it. I thought that was a little bit too much. I think he was getting a little bit ahead of himself. Like, first of all, dude, your team just lost a chance to win the title at home because of you. Number 1, not playing. Number 2, hyping up the best player on the other team. I mean, if you're going to get into it with any player on the other team, get into it with the bum dude at the end of the bench, not the best player. Even if you think you're better than him, don't hype up the best player on the other team, dude. Even if you the one got to guard him, don't hype up the best player on the other team. Anybody but him. All right, that's number 1. So those are the 5 things I think tilted karma away from the Golden State Warriors. Number 1 was, I don't even remember what all 5 of them was. Number 1, the owner talking shit when you ain't got to play. Number 2, Draymond Green saying, not even Draymond, it was Klay Thompson's snark. Number 3, it was Aisha Curry's thing. Number 4 was Maurice Spates, or reverse those. Spates, then Curry's thing. And number 5, Draymond talking about we can win the championship on other team's home floor 2 years in a row. I don't know if that's ever been done. Those are kind of, you don't want to put the energy of karma against you, because karma's a bitch. Y'all have heard that before. Karma's a bitch, and karma is a vindictive bitch. You don't want to put that against you. But the bottom line of everything that I'm saying, out of all that, I don't mind Maurice Spates. If he would have I wish Spates had just come out and spoke. Like, talk like a man, dude. Don't tweet. You're a grown man. Don't tweet when you're talking about another man that you got to see face to face maybe 3 more times in the next week. Don't tweet about him when you could just say it in front of him, or you could do something. I mean, prove it with your play on the court. I mean, you ain't got to fight him, but you could prove it with your play on the court. Don't tweet. I'm just not with the tweeting about somebody who you could see in person and say what you got to really say. So that, number 1, I don't like. But at least he was a player. At least he a player. At least he got to go out there and check LeBron, and he got dunked on for it. I'm fine with Klay Thompson's thing, because Klay got to go out there and play. Draymond Green, he got to guard LeBron James. But the owner and the wife, y'all ain't playing. Shut the hell up. Just be happy that you cool with who you cool with. You got tickets. Like, be quiet, because you ain't got to go out there and fight the person you talking to. That's the bottom line. So everybody, I've been talking for 54 minutes. This has been a long video. If you watch this whole video, I appreciate you. Let me know in the comments if you watched the whole video. But anyway, everybody, that's my recap of the NBA Finals 2016. 7 games, great series, great basketball, great back and forth conversation with you all about this. It's my favorite time of year, the playoffs, because that's the time I pay the most attention to what's going on in basketball. There's too many games going on during the rest of the season for me to pay attention to all of them. We all watching different stuff, but the playoffs, we all focus on the same thing. So I appreciate this basketball community we got on the internet, here on YouTube, on Twitter, Snapchat, everywhere wherever you've been conversing about basketball, Instagram, everywhere. I appreciate you all's comments and engagement in all these vids. I like doing the recaps after every game. I will do this probably next year in the finals if schedules, time permits, and YouTube still exists. Who knows? Somebody might come along and smash YouTube between now and next year. Who knows? Whatever the hot thing is, I'll be there watching the games. Y'all be watching the games. We'll be talking about the games no matter who's playing. Might be LeBron James again. I got a good feeling it might be. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's definitely it. I don't even feel like talking no more. Everybody, work on your game. Leave a comment down here what you thought about Game 7, what you thought about the whole series, what you thought about anything that I said. I said a lot. So be thoughtful, be thorough in your comments. Be respectful of each other in your comments, even if you disagree, so you don't have to get kicked out of here. Everybody have a great, I guess NBA off season. If you're a ball player, ain't no off season. Start working on your game right now. We got products for that. hoophandbook.com. Y'all know where it's at. Everybody work on your game. Leave them comments. Enjoy the NBA offseason. DreAllDay.com. What could you not do with more confidence? Less attention to the negativity of other people. More focus on your goals than nothing else. And not letting unfortunate circumstances slow you down. Would all of those help you out? Well, go to DreAllDay.com/bulletproof. Check out my new 8-week course called Bulletproof Mindset. Get started, and I'll see you over there. Work on your. If you're on Snapchat, hit me on the Snap. My Snap name is @Dre Baldwin. You already know how that works. And I got a podcast, if you didn't know. It is called Work on Your Game. It is an everyday podcast where I talk about getting yourself into the right mindset, that bulletproof mindset. Getting yourself seen, heard, known, getting the exposure you want, and making things happen in your life instead of waiting for things to happen to or for you. Subscribe to that podcast. We're on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. Make sure you check it every single day. Make sure you're subscribed so you catch the heat. Work on your game.
Dre Ball, Dre Ball, Dre Ball. I feel like Dre Ball, Dre Ball, Dre Ball. I feel like Dre Ball, Dre Ball. I'm ballin'. I feel like Dre.